After Week, I'm Dara O'Brien. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Holly Walsh and Russell Howard, Jack Whitehall, Hugh Dennis and Milton Jones. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of a packed House of Commons recently, but what does PTFC stand for?
Is it Pissed Tossers Face Chop?
Is it Parliament, too few chairs?
Is it in fact just everything that they've spent money on? Porn, televisions, furniture, castles?
Is it Perspective Tempts 15-foot cameraman?
Is it politicians turn out for free cakes?
About the least recognisable man in politics. Politicians try and find Clegg.
Or is it they're actually playing a game, pick the fattest Conservative?
Is it in fact the new Labour car scrappage scheme? Toyotas for Conservatives. Imagine how good that'd be if I managed to say Prius and Toyota.
Actually, I drive a Prius. The handling is incredible. Is it driving a new Prius? Yes. It goes 0 to 60.
Or is it performers try find caption?
OK, the P for payback.
Payback time.
Pay back the fucking cash!
No, but that was a proper cri de coeur, wasn't it? That came from the heart.
I want to know which paper that comes from, because I'd like to read that every day.
It's the Parsons Gazette. So every article's the same. Look at these arseholes!
Not that particular, but the payback one.
Payback time for Commons.
Well done, very good. Thank you very much. Yes, the answer I was looking for was payback time for Commons. This is the news that MPs have been ordered to repay over £1 million of their expenses following an audit of claims dating back to 2004. How do we feel about the MPs' expenses?
It just refuses to go away, this story, doesn't it? It's like thrush. Every time I open the paper, it's bad. I'm fed up with hearing certain MPs say, it's legal, it's legal. So standing outside an old folks' home dressed as Harold Shipman, just don't do it.
They have paid back supposedly over £1 million, but the inquiry itself cost £1.5 million.
And what was not covered in the Legg report about it? What wasn't covered?
Oh, the second houses.
Second houses, the flipping of houses.
The big story.
The thing that people got really angry about, the flipping houses wasn't in the flipping report. So it's actually just stuff like travel expenses. I mean, there was a league table in The Guardian during the week of the 5 MPs who've taken the most in travel expenses, and coincidentally it was the MP for Orkney, the MP for the Shetland Isles. And you kind of go, that's probably fair enough.
My favourite expense without doubt, there was one MP that allegedly claimed £5,000 for stationery. What does he write on? Dried unicorns?
There was one bloke, wasn't there? He claimed to have his hedge trimmed around his helipad. And you're thinking, why on earth do you need a hedge around your helipad? And surely if you use that helipad often enough, it should trim the hedge forward.
What annoys me, though, as well, is the way that they kind of thought that we'd, forget about it. It's like, we're not. Screw them. Every single one of those, greedy bastards use their expensive claims to pay for, tennis coaches for their wife who's getting screwed into oblivion behind their own back, or the school fees for their posh yuppie daughter, Tara Salata, who got a Porsche before she hit puberty, and completely and utterly neglect the lives of their sons that have failed performing arts degrees and use fleeting panel show appearances as a desperate cry for help.
What was Cameron's response, by the way?
It's awful, it's awful. It's absolutely disgraceful.
Well, they had to tone it down because he also was tied with the same rules. Yeah.
Only a little bit. But the thing is, you can't have Cameron sort of lecturing us about money because he's so posh. When he was little, he didn't have an action man, he had a Gurkha.
He said it was out of order for Brown to complain about expenses because Gordon Brown cannot reform the institution because he is the institution. Which is meant as a bit of a zinger, but if anyone ever said that, I would be around number 10 in my pants going, I'm the institution! Yeah. Are you the institution? Oh, you're not the institution. I am the institution. Who's the institution? I'm the institution, yeah! How's Gordon Brown been preparing for the election?
He's been eating 9 bananas.
9 bananas.
9 bananas.
Whoa, sorry.
First off, he had a Kit Kat obsession. He's replaced the Kit Kats with bananas, which I think is a great shame. Because Kit Kats, he's getting a subliminal message that we all want him to have. Have a break.
I think being photographed eating fruit is a bad idea because that immediately alienates your Scottish voters.
Yeah. The thing about bananas, though, isn't it? Is it supposed to convert into serotonin, which makes you happy? Now, he has 9 bananas a day. Imagine how miserable he would look if he wasn't eating those bananas. Presumably he likes bananas so he can fit one in sideways to make it look like he's smiling.
what Gordon Brown is doing with the bananas, he's cutting them up very, very fine, then cooking them in oil. I said to him, listen, mate, you're frittering your life away.
What has added this week to car manufacturer Toyota's troubles?
Oh, now this is a recall. They've had to recall a second car.
They may have to
do it, but it does the whole thing. It explains to me one of the great mysteries in advertising. The car in front is a Toyota because its accelerator is stuck.
I'd imagine a better ad now would be the car behind you is a Toyota. I'd get out of its way.
When I read the headline, faulty Toyota's record, I was like, brilliant. That's my favourite Japanese sitcom.
Toyota owners have been
That's a good joke, come on. 40 Toyotas. I was then going to go on and do an impression of Dark Man trying to war, but I'm not doing that.
Toyota owners have been told, haven't they, to take their 40 cars back to the garage. Now, you're thinking that's probably a little bit dangerous for the garage owners. You know, looking at, oh my God, here's one coming. Looks like it's coming a bit quickly. Quick, behind the wall, behind the wall.
Yeah, if the garage you're bringing it back to is called Cliffside Motors.
They said as well that if you take it back, they can fix it in like half an hour.
Yeah.
I always get worried about how easy they can seem to do these things because it really scares me. Like, I was on a plane the other day and I was sat on it for like half an hour. And after half an hour, the guy came on the PA system. He was like, "Don't be alarmed. In a couple of moments, the cabin's going to go quiet whilst we kill the engine before we then reboot it to try and fix the system." I was like, "Great. I'm on a little metal bird that's about to travel through the air, and the way you plan to fix the current problem is by switching it off and switching it back on again. It's not a PlayStation. Make up some technical shit and that will reassure me." Like, I was half expecting to say, "Oh yeah, it's going to be a couple of minutes more whilst we send the co-pilot out on the runway to see whether smacking on the side will work."
Actually, that's a good point. I mean, how can it be fixed? You know how it can be fixed?
Yeah, you need a shim.
You need a shim, you're absolutely right. But like, look at it. Look at the size of the shim.
Wow.
Right? And that's like, it's not like a chip or anything. That was just a small piece of metal. It's like, that was clearly in a bag somewhere in the factory. And they went, hey, what are these for? Are they part of it? Are they a thing? I don't know.
Great.
Don't ask any questions, Terry.
I'm really helpful. I'm pleased as well that my granny is going to be fine with this because she's one of those women. She's quite old-fashioned. She refuses to have any Japanese electronical equipment or anything in her house. And I asked my granny about this the other day and I said, "Oh, is that because of the war?" She said, "No, she's just a massive racist."
There was lots of column inches spent on what do you do if your accelerator's stuck. And apparently the thing to do is to put your foot on the brake pedal. Yeah. Who would have thought of that?
The thing to do is the handbrake. We've all done that when you've got a crappy old car. Yeah. Just whoa, and we're cooking. Yeah.
Nothing worse when you're still accelerating and holding your handbrake.
I used to own a Toyota years ago, and I remember once I was driving along eating a marshmallow, and all of a sudden my airbag deployed. And in that moment I thought I'd become really, really small.
The points go to Jack here in Milton. Our next round is called Newsreel, replaying a recent piece of footage featuring people in the news and asks you to suggest what might be being said. This week's clip features Peter Mandelson.
Well, welcome, Lord Mandelson, to the new Labour election HQ. We've got everything that you asked for. We've got an area for phone polling, we've got an area for leaflets, we've got an area for envelope stuffing, and of course we have begun work, as requested, on the machine. Oh, the machine. When will it be finished? Well, we just started the installation. It should be ready by the middle of next month. Ah, as soon as that. That's beyond my wildest imagination. Just one question, though. We're not quite sure. You know, what is the machine? The machine? Yes, we never built one. So, you know, what exactly does the machine... Let me explain. The machine. Soon my enemies will be rounded up and fed into the machine. It will suck their brains dry, and I will be the most powerful politician in the world. It's just a machine for sucking dry the brains of politicians. Is that how... Yes. And this is where I will watch it from. Revenge will be mine, Harry Potter. Are you going to put glass in this? Only I don't want to get splashed.
Well done, Hughes. Now we play a round called Life is Like a Box of Mockolets. This game involves Milton, Andy and Jack, so if you could make your way over to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launch the wheel of news, and wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. OK? Here we go. Our first topic, please. First subject is education. Any persons?
Yes, well, I'd like to start off with arithmetic. And how come there's only one person on my team and two on theirs? You may have seen, however, that there is a school in Tyneside which now doesn't open until 10 a.m. in the morning because they think teenagers need an extra hour and a half in bed to cope with puberty. What a marvellous euphemism that is, ladies and gentlemen. My mother burst into my room unexpectedly and caught me coping with puberty. There have been a lot of teachers in the press recently, stories where they've been caught having sexual relationships with their pupil. The one that caught my eye, 26-year-old PE teacher who'd been caught shagging this 16-year-old lad. And the paper's going, oh, there's a lot of questions that need to be asked. I'm sure a question that a lot of people wanted to ask was, where was she when I was at school?
Thank you very much, Andy. OK, let's spin the wheel again. And the subject is media. Who wants to come in on that? Jack.
You hear the weirdest things on news reports. I was watching one a couple of months ago about the Californian forest fires. I genuinely heard a man say that apparently 300 mobile homes have been destroyed. Now, I don't know whether there are that many advantages to a mobile home, if any, but one of the main ones, the big selling point of the mobile home, is that you're not really tied down to an area, especially if the said area is on fire. I also saw the most ludicrous one ever, which was a guy on the news, a so-called expert, say that apparently obesity is now a bigger threat to this country than Al-Qaeda. It's definitely not. What would you rather? Have obviously on the train on your way home? Some mental guy with a beard and like a 100-yard stare with a rucksack full of Semtex? Or just a jolly little fat kid with a rucksack full of Quavers? Don't get me wrong, that's not me like belittling obesity, because actually my mum has quite a lot of issues with her weight. She uses those dieting pills, although I did have to point out to her the other day they don't work if you butter them.
Thank you very much, Jack. OK, Milton, let's see what you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. And the topic is travel.
I've just come back from Australia. While I was there, I learnt some Aboriginal words like boo, which means to return, because when you throw an ordinary meringue... I didn't think much of the film on the plane coming back from Australia. It turned out to be a 24-hour animation of a plane travelling from Sydney to London. Whatever you do, don't go and see Time to Destination. Italians, slanty little eyes. Sorry, italics. Just come back from Dartmoor, where I spent 3 days shooting at life-size models of Sarah Ferguson and Princess Diana. Got nothing against them myself, it's just they made it part of the Duke of Edinburgh's awards scheme. I've just come back from Russia. Always wanted to go out with a Russian girl, because in my experience, inside every Russian woman, there's another Russian woman.
OK, points in that round. Go to Milton and Jack. Come on back. The next round is called This is the Answer. What is the question on the board? 6 categories. Holly, which category would you like?
Sport.
Sport is the category. The answer is 12 minutes. What's the question?
How long is too long a pause to say no after your girlfriend says, does my bum look big in this?
Is it if you push someone down the escalators at exactly the right speed, how long will they keep falling?
How long on average does it take an elderly woman to complete any kind of transaction at an ATM?
Is it when he looks back on his time in office, how much will Gordon Brown be proud of?
Is it if you brake in a Toyota, how long till it stops?
Is it after how long of watching Paddy McGuinness's new dating show Take Me Out did I pray that the title had literal connotations?
Is it how long after the wedding ceremony did Paul McCartney think, I've made a mistake?
What is a worryingly long time to be having a piss?
What is the longest John Terry has kept it in his pants?
Is it a million miles?
It's the time it took Fabio Capello to tell Terry that he'd been sacked.
That's exactly it. Thank you very much, Russell. The question I was looking for was, how long did it take England manager Fabio Capello to sack John Terry as captain? This is the news that during a 12-minute meeting, Terry was relieved of his captaincy and has been replaced by Rio Ferdinand. Was it the right decision?
Yes.
OK. Capello does come out of it well, doesn't he?
I like the way he demanded that he wear a tie. Like the meeting was held up because he wasn't wearing a tie.
Yeah.
You can do anything you like in the England squad, but only your sex can be casual.
The meeting was a bit like a speed date, wasn't it? One of them was being very critical, the other one was sensing rejection, and they both left without getting a shag.
What do you think Fabio missed the trick, though? Who is the New England captain? He should have gone, his name is Rio, and he dances on the sand.
Government is fast, given that half it had to be interpreted into Italian and then back out. That's like a 6-minute meeting. Then there's the hello. Then there's the kind of awkward pause where they go, that Toyota thing is a bit of a mess, isn't it? Yeah.
What's hilarious, though, you've just got people going, sacked as captain, he should be sacked from England. You're like, no, he shouldn't. He's really good at football. That's why he's going to stay. What's interesting about this, it makes you think Rooney could get away with anything. He could eat a baby. He could walk around Buckingham Palace naked and slap a swan with his wang, and the Queen would go, it's a World Cup year. Leave him to it, Philip.
Do you not think it's a slightly unfortunate photograph as well? It looks like Fabio's going, and then he took her like this.
Maybe that's what the interview was. Maybe it was 1 minute going, you're sacked, and then the other 11. So tell me, what happened?
We don't leave out any details at all.
I think it's good for Terry as well, because Terry's like, he was quite a boring sportsman, and this has come out, it's quite interesting. It's like the same as Tiger Woods. He was so dull, and then he did that, and I was like, it's quite interesting now. And I think more boring sportsmen should do it. Like, I would like Michael Owen far more if I found out he was into, like, badger baiting.
Well, funny you should say that.
They were actually chanting, though, at Chelsea, weren't they? They were going, there's only one England captain. The chant I thought they might have come up with was, Chelsea, wherever you may be, don't leave your wife with John Terry.
It's pretty funny, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? The idea that they've got rid of Terry because he's morally reprehensible and replaced him with Rio? That's like swapping a pit bull for a staffy.
They've replaced a guy who shagged around on his wife with a man who's currently banned for violent conduct on the field for elbowing another footballer in the head. And the vice-captain just got cleared on an assault charge for punching a guy who he thought was attacking him when the guy was actually recoiling from being punched in the face by one of Gerrard's friends. Or you could have got the guy whose marriage broke up with the guy who went to the prostitute. Really, you shouldn't be picking your captains on a moral ground. So it must be like a prison yard or something like that. And when like Theo Walcott in the middle of all that, they're going, what would you do? And he went, I just want to play football. What special service did the government shut down this week?
This is the swine flu hotline.
Swine flu hotline is gone. Yeah, if you have any questions you want to ask the swine flu hotline, that moment has passed now, yes.
But basically, isn't it, we apparently now have 60 million surplus vaccines that the NHS have, right? So you go and see your doctor now, oh, doctor, I've broken my leg, oh, here's some Tamiflu, we need to get rid of it.
Yeah. I'm going to miss it so much. I loved having fun with, like, swine flu, but the best is when you're on the tube, because if you coughed, anyone was just like, oh, God, we're going to die. And everyone got really nervous and got off at the next stop. Like, even the Muslim extremists with the backpack were like, screw this shit, I'm out of here.
I fantasised about that. When it first came out, I was thinking, how much fun would it be to go to the doctors just holding a pig wearing a sombrero? You get seen straight away. He's feeling snuffly.
Can I just say, did anyone here have any experience of the swine flu hotline?
No, oh, do you know it was being manned by 16-years-olds?
It was being manned by 16-year-olds.
How fantastic is that? You don't want a 16-year-old kid diagnosing you. Yeah, I've got a rash on my breasts.
That's it. If anyone knows how to get hold of drugs quickly, it's a 16-year-old.
I mean, they already have a distribution network, so they kind of got...
I had to advertise it for a bit.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, there were different voiceovers for different stages of the pandemic.
What did you
get?
get?
I think I was stage 3.
Ooh.
And stage 1 was, there is just normal seasonal flu.
Yeah.
And then stage 4 was, you're going to die, you're going to die. I was stage 3, which was, if pandemic flu reaches Britain. They missed that stage out completely.
What, did we go straight to the you're going to die,
you're going to die?
I don't remember seeing the ads that went, you're going to die, you're going to die. But now
so
coronation
on the one
street.
hand, I was terrified, and on the other hand, I was thinking, I haven't been paid. They've missed out on money.
Did you see the advert? It's hilarious. Right? The official government advert, there's a bloke in a lift with a family having an amazing time, then the bloke sneezes, and there's a shot of the baby looking at the man going... like a child is going to go, how could you? Might not kill him.
You don't want 16-year-olds handing out advice for health, though, do you? You phone up the hotline, you go, oh, I'm pale, I feel awful, I've got no energy. 16-year-olds are going, well, you're probably a goth.
Can I just go back to this? I'm intrigued by this. I'm intrigued by the fact that in a time of pandemic and crisis, Hugh Dennis was cashing in firstly. But also was the voice that we were supposed to be reassured by. Which of your voices did you do for this?
Yeah, which one?
The Prince. Stay at home. Lock your doors. It's coming. We can't tell you when.
That's actually really weird.
Yeah. But the problem is people don't understand disease. When AIDS first became a crisis, I was operating the goods lift in Harrods. I was a student. I was trying to earn money. And the only thing we knew about AIDS was it started in Holland, right? And the bloke who operated the goods lift with me refused to unload a consignment of Edam cheese.
At the end of that round, the points go to Russell, Holly and Andy. Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics and then we'll see what our panelists can come up with. Okay, here we go. The first subject is unlikely things to read in a Valentine's Day card.
I may be dyslexic, but that doesn't mean I don't vole you.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I've got something nasty, and now so do you.
You make me so hot, I can't stop thinking about you. Lots of love, Mum.
Happy Valentine's Day on this 24th of February. Love, Royal Mail.
You're the perfect person for me. Pissed and gagging for it.
Be my Valentine or die in a well.
I love your eyes, I love your nose, I love your smell. Why must you be a Labrador?
Do we have to go through this shit every year?
You make my pants hot. Yours, Omar Farouk Abdul Muttalib.
To my darling wife, roses are red, violets are blue. Valentine's Day is consumerist bullshit. Now, haven't you got some ironing to do?
Roses are red. Poppies are red. The grass is all red. Shit, the garden's on fire!
I'm a bit of a man for the ladies. Doesn't matter how clearly the gents are signposted.
I love you so much. I love you like no other. But never again les up with my mother.
Life with me, baby, is like a roller coaster. It's got a weight restriction.
There are just 3 words I want to say. Dream on, bitch.
Okay, next topic is unlikely things to hear in a science programme.
1643. The cold air balloon is invented. But it doesn't really take off.
For Einstein, it was easy to choose a DJ name. He would be MC squared.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gillian McKeith, and today I'll be sifting through your poop. Why? Because I was never hugged as a child.
Now on 5, crop circles, myth or bollocks?
Next, to demonstrate chaos theory, we've locked Boris Johnson in a room with an aardvark and some magic mushrooms.
I was the man who discovered DNA. I wasn't going to call it that, but I was giving a lecture to the Royal Society, and I said, gentlemen, I believe I've discovered the genetic fingerprint of all human life. Ta-da!
I've been Richard Dawkins. Good night and God bless. Shit.
Thanks to carbon dating, this skeleton is now going out with a short-sighted geology student who likes thin people that don't talk much.
1891. Sir Alexander Graham Benn receives the first wrong number telephone call.
He realised that this equation was going to take him absolutely years. So he switched to a media studies course, which was a piece of piss.
I did have here a pie chart to demonstrate obesity.
Apart from the human, the only animal to enjoy having sex is the dolphin. I had to shag a lot of animals to find that out.
I'm a meerkat, she's not lying.
Tonight we'll be discussing molecular science. Our guests are Sir Patrick Moore, Robert Winston, and Dappy off of N-Dubs.
With their tiny arms, could the T-Rex self-pleasure? Let's find out in another edition of Wanking with Dinosaurs.
At the end of that round, the points go to Russell, Holly and Andy. That's the end of the show. This week's winners are Jack Whitehall, Hugh Dennis and Milton Jones. Commiseration to Andy Parsons, Holly Walsh and Russell Howard. Thank you for watching. I'm Gareth Green. Good night.
The comedy continues here on BBC Two as Rabsy Nesbitt is left more than a little confused by a love triangle. That's next.